Hi, my name's Nina and I love sketchbooks. In this sketchbook tour we're going to be looking at this little illustrated journal that I made on a trip to South Wales. It says here September 2020. So I love the size of these journals, they're perfect for travelling around with, slip in your pocket, and they're quite quick to fill as well. It's nice to come back from a trip with a full journal or a full sketchbook. Wales, and this says welcome to Wales in Welsh. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that because I have no idea how you do that. So here's some writing at the beginning, making an itinerary and a plan of what we could do on the trip, potential ideas. Carmarthen. So here is a linear pen drawing that I made outside a coffee shop. That was the view looking down the little side street we were on. Carmarthen, Saturday the 4th. Here's a plant that I bought. Unfortunately it didn't survive the trip home, all the leaves broke off, but it was very lovely at the time. I'm glad I drew it as well, kind of immortalises it so it can live on in the drawing. This is quite an interesting page composition I tried out, where I took elements of the day and highlights and little motifs like I like to do and drew them all together on one page, and here I've put letters next to them as a key, so that on the other side I explain what those things are without doing annotations on the actual drawing. Llanstefan Castle, one of the many castles that we visited. More writing, and here breaking up the composition of the writing by putting illustrations in the margins here. So this is a new kind of layout that I hadn't really done before as well. And I think with journals it's really nice to break up the text with different pens. And I quite like how I've put the drawings in the margins here, quite an unusual page layout, and it helps break up the text. That's something I always try to do with my journals, is to vary the type of writing that I do, whether it's lowercase or uppercase, joined up. And it's nice to implement motifs and drawings so that it doesn't become all too uniform, and it's quite nice to flick through. It becomes, I guess, more visually interesting for me to look back on. Here's a pen sketch that I made very hastily outside a pub before the weather turned. A town called Dale, where we visited. And the thing I like about drawing with chunky pens like this blue one is it kind of forces me to strip down what I'm seeing and break it down into quite simple form. It doesn't let me add too much detail, it doesn't let me take too long to draw it. It's a really nice way of loosening up, limiting yourself to using one tool, trying to really simplify what it is you're seeing and how to capture that in a fairly straightforward way. Pembrokeshire Coast National Park. So the Pembrokeshire coast was this incredible part of Wales that we spent a day exploring. We went on a boat ride, we saw loads of seabirds. Here's a really cute little cottage that we passed on the footpath on the way down to the coast, and an incredible beach called Marlow Sands, which looked like something out of a prehistoric dinosaur film. Incredible, such dramatic scenery. I couldn't even do it justice here. I've just tried to capture some of it, some of the jagged rock formations that we saw. And again, like I was saying about breaking up the page compositions, I like this one because it isn't just solid text, and the little vignettes are really useful to work the text around. It gives a sort of framework which the writing can fall around and helps to give quite a pictorial spread in the book. This page I would have drawn later that evening, so not on location, not on the spot. I got lots of photo reference to use later and referred to online reference as well for some of the bird species. But this would have been something I would have done in the evening. Stones found at the beach. A collection of some of the stones that were on the beach. More writing. Penny fan. This was on our last day of the trip as we were making our way back to England. We climbed to the highest point in the southern part of the UK, and as we reached the top, the clouds cleared because it had been misty all the way up. It was raining, zero visibility, and we weren't sure what we could even see at the top when we reached it. And amazingly, the clouds cleared, a rainbow appeared, and some people just started singing. It was quite a magical moment actually, it's quite surreal. This is a little sketch that I made that night when I got home using a photograph that I'd taken of that moment up on top of the hill. And here's a photograph of Penny Fan, which I cut out of a leaflet I picked up. The trip was ending. I like to try and fill up a journal as much as I can. And also it brings in a kind of scrapbooky element, so it's not just my drawings, it's not just writing. I do like to collect things and stick them in here and there as well. Adds a bit more variety. And here, a Wales checklist, things we did in Wales. ate rarebit, saw castles, climbed a mountain, attempted to speak/pronounce Welsh names and words, spoke with a Welsh accent very often, saw sheep, spotted dragons, and bought a souvenir. And that's the end of that journal. I will see you again soon for another sketchbook tour.